Good afternoon, and thank you for joining Metropolitan Community College in our continued Native American Heritage Month programming. My name is Barbara Velasquez, and I serve as coordinator of International Intercultural Education at MCC. National Native American Heritage Month recognizes the accomplishments of the peoples who were the original inhabitants, explorers, and settlers of the United States. During this recognition at MCC, we celebrate the rich histories, diverse cultures, and important contributions of our nation's first people. Your microphones will be silenced during the program. You may send your questions or comments to the host on the chat function at any time. Questions will be addressed by our speaker after he completes his presentation. Your continued attendance at International Intercultural Education programming could qualify you for recognition throughout the year. To be considered, complete the online evaluation and include your name and contact information. The online address will be on a slide at the end of the program. It is mccneb.edu/IIEEVAL. We are thankful to all of the presenters who have honored us with their knowledge, experiences, and research during this month. Today is no exception. From the communications I have received, many are excited to learn from Stephen Buffalohead, whose heritage includes the Ponca tribe of Oklahoma, Navajo, and Algonquin, and will share his life experiences in his presentation entitled, My Journey to Buffalo Built Design Studio. Please welcome Mr. Stephen Buffalohead.
Hi, everyone. Let me start. All right. My name is Stephen Bufflehead. I'm the co-founder and graphic designer at Buffalo Built Design Studio. Like Barbara said, this is the story about me growing up as Native American, my education, my career, and my company. So let's begin. Let's start with childhood. These are my parents right here on the right, Dory Bufflehead and Eddie Buckshot. There's me in my mom's belly. These two had me at a very young age. They were actually in high school when they had me. Soon after, they had my younger brother, Sean. I remember being a complete family for a while, but it didn't last long. These two lived in Cleveland, and bad choices were easy choices. The people you surround yourself with shape the person you become. My dad struggled with substance abuse and my mom alcohol. Together, they just weren't a good fit. When she wanted to start a new life, she decided to raise me and my brother as a single parent. So we packed our bags, moved to Cleveland, to Omaha when I was 6 years old. Life was great. For the longest time, my mom was doing good. She was in school, she had a job, she had a car, a house, everything someone wanted. Well, the one thing she was missing was a daughter. When she finally had one, it was on my 15th birthday. At the time, I was super jealous. She just stole my birthday, but I quickly realized that she was the best present I could ever receive. Her name was Sierra. Her name is Sierra. She's in there, right over there. My mom taught us the importance of family. We often took road trips to Oklahoma, New Mexico, Cleveland to visit family as a normal vacation. Along the way, along these trips, my mom would often have the window rolled down, and to stay awake, and I would often take sips of her French vanilla coffee. I remember one time we got pulled over because she was trying to beat her drive time to Oklahoma and Cleveland, where we often went. She also taught me how to drive. I may have 7 speeding tickets, but who's counting? she often took us to powwows as kids. I always had, we were always in the arena dancing. I was a grass dancer. She taught us to be proud of our heritage, and we were. She passed away from alcoholism in 2018. When I was a kid, I used to tell people I'm 75% Native and 25% white. On my paternal side, my grandmother was Navajo. My grandfather was Algonquin. The Navajo side, that family lived in New Mexico. And my grandfather was Algonquin, and his family lived in Canada near Quebec. On my maternal side, my grandfather was Southern Ponca. His family lived in Oklahoma. And on my maternal side, my grandmother was, white. When I got older, I took a couple years ago, I took a DNA test. Turns out I'm only 43.6% Native American. When I was a kid, I thought I'm Native. I have long hair, my skin's nice caramel brown. I remember going to powwows thinking I'm the most Native person in this building. Well, when I grew up, I realized blood didn't matter. I was 100% me. Seeing the proof stripped away those feelings, I was amazed at how truly diverse I was. As you can see, I'm not just Native American, I'm Chinese and European. So yeah, it's just crazy. What makes up me? Your culture shouldn't be based on blood alone. Culture is built on your lifestyle, your family traditions, and your community. Some challenges I faced growing up that I learned to embrace and overcome would have to be, for the biggest one that affected me was probably stuttering. You guys are witnessing something I've never done before, which is public speak. This is crazy, so you're welcome. It took a true toll on my confidence. I wouldn't raise my hand in class. I didn't have a voice. I was scared to speak. I was bullied a lot. The schools I went to were 95% white people. I was brown. I had long hair. It was something easy someone could say. And when we talked about Native American history, all eyes were on me. Very awkward feeling. Alcoholism and addiction were in my family and affect many natives. It's a huge problem that most of us face. This ultimately broke up my home, and which leads me to my next point. This alcoholism actually drove me to find something better and become a first generation college grad. I looked around and I didn't want this. And on top of it all, the most recent find is my undiagnosed dyslexia. I had problems in school with reading, spelling, taking tests were extremely difficult, and finding this out kind of pieced those puzzles together and questioning myself, why isn't this easy? So that was something big. Another big thing, and no one ever called me an apple, but red on the outside, white on the inside. My family, in my family, it felt like I was too white to be Native. Family members judged me for wanting better, like what we had wasn't good enough, which wasn't true. It's hard being in a house full of people not wanting to work their ass off to make their life better for themselves. They saw school as easy and weak. A real man works with their hands, right? Well, I never truly felt accepted. At the age of 16, I moved in with my girlfriend, now wife, and her dad. I can't believe he let me move in. Thanks, Sean. There I was able to focus on school, and I kept moving forward. Now I'm an optimist, so I like to talk about the positives. Life is very negative, and you can sit all day and cry about what happened. But being Native American felt good. I was a unique, rare person. I had an amazing culture to back it up. I was proud that my family survived the genocides our people went through. I remember the best days were in class when we got to do show and tell. I got to bring in cool Native American pottery, regalia, buffalo skulls, fur, and feathers. I can't believe my mom trusted me with all that stuff. I was just a kid. But it was cool because I got to teach my classmates about my culture. And it felt so good. As a kid, I loved art. One of my first memories were that actually started this love were made in my Cleveland kindergarten class. My favorite teacher, Julie, who I still keep in contact with, had a parent-teacher conference with my mom. She told her I was the only student to draw all 5 fingers on the stick figure. That little comment has stuck with me all my life. It was a confirmation that I am a true artist. Looking back on it, maybe that comment shouldn't get all the credit, but it's such a good story. On the other hand, for another good story, my brother told his teacher that us natives eat worms. My mom didn't love hearing that. When it came to schooling, if it was up to me, I probably wouldn't have picked these places. When you're a kid, you listen to the people around you. And I like to thank my Aunt Tammy and Uncle Jim. They have been nothing but supportive when it comes to school. They always knew education was the right direction, at least for me. So they were the driving force when it came to picking a Catholic grade school. My Uncle Jim went to prep, so that was an easy choice, and I lived right down the street. College, my aunt worked at Creighton. I also did some summer classes at Metro because Creighton is super expensive. So my mom was low income, but so she actually received a lot of financial assistance within all these places because those programs luckily exist. And thankfully, my aunt and uncle were there to help out financially when she needed it. School was hard, learning was hard, passing a test was hard. It took a lot of work, and it didn't come easy, but I kept trucking. When I arrived at Creighton, well, to be honest, at first I didn't want to go to college. I already passed high school, and quite frankly, I kind of hated school. Like I said, it wasn't easy. I actually wanted to become a mechanic and open up my shop called Buffalo Built. Sounds familiar, I know. College was expensive, and I didn't want all this massive debt on my shoulders. It was my Aunt Tammy who forced me to go to college. She, like I said, worked at Creighton in a department called Student Support Services, part of the TRIO program. She helped me and others like myself apply for grants, scholarships, tutors, anything a student needed to be successful. She gave me the opportunity to go to a really prestigious school, and I did. I started out like all students, you don't know what you want to do. Well, if I could draw five fingers on a stick figure, art has to be the direction. The possibilities are endless. So I started out in studio arts. I was in the painting classes, drawing, photography, sculpture, pottery. And after a while, I knew I loved this, but I didn't want to be a starving artist. As a prereq class, I found graphic design, and my teacher was Tim Guthrie. I don't know if he knows this, but he was a huge inspiration to me. He was an artist and a graphic designer, the perfect mix, exactly what I wanted to be, or at least become. And I wasn't the best in class. I didn't take the design class and outperform all the students. I stuck with it. There was a lot to learn, and it was going to take time. I graduated in 4 years with a double major in studio art and graphic design. And I was out. I graduated, never looking back. On to my career. Let's just take a second to absorb this beautiful picture. This is when I had long hair. I had long hair my entire life. I actually cut it maybe 2 years ago, 4 years ago, something like that. Yeah. So yeah, I had long hair. I whipped it. It was pretty cool. Anyway, I landed my first internship after graduating college for a nonprofit called Heartland Family Services. The programs help the community in many areas, including child and family well-being, counseling and prevention, housing, safety, and financial stability. Everything my mom essentially used in her life. It was very slow pace. I mainly learned print. The entire time I was applying for jobs and building my resume, because did I mention it was an unpaid internship? I had no money coming in. I was learning stuff, but it was very slow. And 6 months later, I actually found a job. But before I got the job, I had to pass the interview. The people who interviewed me were a CEO and a creative director. The entire interview went well up until the point where the CEO asked me, "Hey, Steven, what's your favorite movie?" I didn't study for this, you know? It's like, I wasn't expecting this question. So the first movie that pops in my head was Child's Play 2. Not Child's Play 1, not Child's Play 3. Child's Play 2 was the best movie of all time for some reason. This is what I said. Well, later on, after I obviously got the job, the creative director tells me if it was up to the CEO, he said, "I'm not hiring a guy whose favorite movie is Child's Play 2. And the creative director, Christopher, said, "No, we're giving him a shot." They hired me, and thanks, Christopher. I landed my first paid job as a professional graphic designer. I put professional in quotes because honestly, I didn't know what I was doing. Blue Giant was a agency that specialized in the financial industry. I was quickly immersed into the agency workflow. I learned more in the first 3 months than I did in the 4 years of school. Let me say that again. I learned more in the first 3 months than I did in 4 years of school. It was fast paced. I got to hone my skills and ultimately develop my design style, which fit perfectly within the financial industry. I learned time management. I learned how to hit deadlines. I learned an effective design process. Not everything needed to be custom. I expanded my design media. I worked on print, video, animations, websites, logos, branding, social media, apparel, conference design, poster design, book design, the list goes on. When they needed something that involved a designer's touch, I was the person that they asked to do it. And I was willing to learn. I never lied. Like, I was never like, oh yeah, I know how to do that. I'm like, well, I don't know how to do that, but I'm willing to give it a shot. And it always came through, and it was a learning process. The creative agency atmosphere was fun. I have a couple pictures here to show, like, we went to coffee shops and worked as a team, and I got to see video for the first time. Like, green screens, crazy. We went to bars, and like it was fun. But like all good things, they come to an end. And I found myself at the same company with maybe a couple employees that had been there. After almost three years, the company changed hands and things changed. I wasn't in this fun atmosphere anymore. I was in a corporate job and working on the same company. Nothing was, it was creative, but it wasn't like what it used to be. At the time, we were working on this RFP project, which I have no idea what the acronym stands for now, but essentially we're putting hundreds of pages, printing hundreds of pages and putting them together in a booklet to present to some financial firm. And as a creative person, as an artist, I didn't want to do that. Like, it wasn't fun. No one liked staying after work and sitting around putting papers together. So we're at a table doing this meaningless, monotonous job, and we start talking about our dreams, because no one's dream is to do that. And it gets to me, and I'm like, well, I want to start my own business. I want to be a freelance graphic designer. And 3 months later, if you can believe it, that actually happened. I quit my job, all the fallen names, and I started my own business. It's at the top floor of our house, at the corner, right? We have an office. We painted the walls. We put up this fake wood. I built my own 8-foot desk, attached a TV on the wall, and printed a logo and stuck it on the wall too, because it's super official. Your logo's on the wall, it's real, right? I painted this chalkboard, and we even bought a chair to put in the corner there. There's me and Melissa. On December 1st, that's when I quit, and I started Buffalo Built. And this was it. It was a room, and I sat at that red chair, and that chair sucked, and I bought a new one because my back hurt after a while. But most people ask, why would you take the risk? Well, I learned a lot from an agency I worked with for almost 3 years. I made a lot of connections at Blue Giant and with other companies. Landing an agency job first really diversified my skills quickly, and I was lucky for that. After almost 3 years, too many things changed, and I wasn't happy anymore at work. And honestly, not having health insurance was a risk I was willing to take. And not to mention, I had FICOM. FICOM is a financial communications company headquartered in Los Angeles. They also have they also have an office in New York, so they're coast to coast. And remember that creative director that hired me initially? Well, his name's Christopher, and he moved from Omaha to California and started the creative department there, and hired me as the graphic designer. This was actually the reason why I quit. I talked to my wife, like, how many hours do I need to work? How long do I have to work for us to pay our bills? And then I told Christopher this. I'm like, hey, I need to work this much for this much. And he was like, yeah, cool, do it. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. Well, Melissa, like myself, found her job not fun. Oh yeah, sorry, skipping around here. This is Melissa. You'll see her face in a later slide. She's my wife. We've been together for over 13 years, and she has been nothing but supportive. She graduated from Metro with an associate's degree in medical billing and coding, where she landed her first job at Nebraska Medicine. Her coworkers were older, and she wasn't being challenged there. She pretty much maxed out what that title and what that position meant. And she didn't see herself there for her whole life. She took a Myers-Briggs test, and it said web developer as one of her careers. So she looked into it, and she liked the sound of it. Web development is ever changing, and it's challenging. It was everything she was looking for. A friend of ours, Will, was in a web development boot camp called Interface. She signed up for 2 classes, web development basics and WordPress development. She started school 2 months before I quit my job. She completed the program in 6 months. Once she graduated, she quit her Nebraska medicine job and started at Buffalo Built on April 2017, just 5 months after I started. School didn't teach her everything. She didn't get the real world agency experience that I got. She just dove in, and there was a lot of tears, not gonna lie, but she's smart, she's determined, she learned how to develop, she learned how to host websites, to troubleshoot and manage, and became a master in her own right. Together, as a duo, we started the new Buffalo Built and added Design Studio LLC to really become professional. Our LLC was established on May 2018, along with a new logo and a new website. At the beginning, FICOM was our sole client. It was pretty much what got us through, what paid our bills. We clients slowly came to us, and we slowly made a name for ourselves. With this new business, we were all in. It brought a lot of new challenges. How to do contracts professionally, how to what project management system to use. We went through like a number of them. How to manage time, how long does a typical project last? How much should we invoice? How do you invoice? We had to answer all these questions. Don't get me started on paying taxes, because that just hurts. And we're in our house, so we need to balance our work and life. It was a lot of challenges, but I could sit there and be scared about everything. But behind every successful man, there is a strong woman. Melissa, and I have to give her all the credit in the world. She took these challenges head on. She's a problem solver. She did, and that's what she does best. I honestly wouldn't be here today if she wasn't on my side. So thanks, Mel. Together, we landed clients, created logos and websites, PowerPoint presentations. I think I've said the list in this before, but just clients kept on coming, and we worked more and more and more, and I grew my skills and she grew hers, and we overcame all these challenges, and we took them head on. And our clients just grew and grew and grew, and it was crazy. It was crazy. There were times where we're like, all right, I think we overpromised. I can't do this, but we did it. It was something we didn't realized we were going to do, and we didn't realize we were going to get this big and grow this fast. And yeah. Oh yeah, did I mention we have health insurance now? It's pretty cool. Big step. All right, so I want to leave you guys with 3 things. And the first one being to follow your passion. I didn't know art would bring me here today. I knew I wanted to follow art. I didn't know where it would lead. I just knew I had a passion for it. Take risks. If I didn't quit my job and I wasn't scared to not have health insurance for 3 years, and I was, the typical easy answer would have been to just stay at my job. It's, I have health insurance, I have 401k, I have all this cushiness, but at the end of the day, I wasn't happy. I'm my own boss now because I took a risk. And the last thing I want to say is to stay optimistic. As positive, like, just negativity is so easy. You can you can sit in a chair and think about 1,000 reasons to not do something, or you can look behind me and say, what's the best that can happen? So thank you, everyone. That was my presentation.
Thank you so much, Stephen. There was quite a bit rolled into that presentation. I want to thank you for the pieces of humor. I was laughing. I don't know if behind the screens we're also laughing, but we invite the audience to send some questions. And I'm going to start with Stephen. You shared with us that you knew you needed something different, and you moved yourself into an environment where you could get that at a very young age. I think you said you were 16.
Yeah.
How did you get the energy to do that, or the insight at 16 to know a different environment would help you?
Yeah. So, well, it was easy. I lived really close to my girlfriend now, wife's house, and I found myself there 5 days of the week, and I walked to school, which was maybe like a 10-minute walk. Got a car, I drove. It was a 2-minute drive. So it was a natural progression, as far as it was easy to escape. The escape was leaving my mom behind and my brother and sister, which were, like, extremely hard. Because I was the oldest, I felt like I was more responsible for that. But as a parent, you have to take responsibility for yourself and your actions. And at the time, I was just a kid. I didn't know, but I knew I could just leave, and it felt better being away from the like an alcoholic mother. So I did. I even know I don't know if I asked my father-in-law if I could stay. I think I just stayed so often that I essentially just brought my clothes there, and like it was an unsaid like agreement. But yeah.
It was nice of you to thank your father-in-law in this presentation also. And I know as parents, we're never quite sure what the right thing to do is, especially when our kids are adolescents. So I think just your experiences can make us all think a little bit more about maybe it is okay for a parent to take a risk like he did too. So
yeah, I think if you're not happy with your situation, leave. You don't have to stay. I think too many people stay and it's a comfortable thing, but take that risk and leave, and life gets better. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does. So.
Heather wants you to know, thanks so much for sharing your story. Martha has a question. What kept you so consistently positive with all the barriers you have experienced in your life?
Well, telling myself I'm positive. I cried a lot. Life wasn't like easy. I don't get hung up on those things though. I learned from them, and I learned from the the mistakes I I made as well. No one's perfect, but I think life is just about living and learning. So I tend to just focus on the positive stuff and learn from the negative.
There's a follow-up question to that, and you may have already answered it, but I'll let you tell us. Where did your way of thinking actually come from?
That's a hard question. I don't know. I don't think there's one person or one thing that contributed to it. There's like everyone's life, we have people like in it that come and go, and I feel like we learn from their mistakes and learn what not to do, and we take what we want from them, as far as I want to be more positive. I want to think this way, and I feel like just like over time, and maybe just like the stuff I listen to and here it just sounds better to just focus on that stuff.
Thanks, Stephen.
Yeah.
Rachel says, great job. Do you think you'll try to open multiple locations for your business in the future?
So that is a good question. We have definitely gotten big enough to where Melissa is starting to look for people to help with the website, and she sees herself as more of a like a manager, sending people work. I see that as well, but I just love designing stuff. I don't think I'm ever gonna let that go, but I am definitely willing to send work to others. I feel like that is a slow process. Maybe we start with a contractor. I don't think we're up to the level as far as like hiring someone just yet. So yeah, if we can get this far in three years, I think well, 4 now, like almost. I think yeah, it's only going to get bigger. So
excellent.
Yeah.
Meg says, thank you for the positive energy. Life is full of brick walls, and finding a way around it is when life begins.
Yep.
Martha wants to know if you feel that you were loved from the time you were born.
Definitely, yes. My family loved me. They took me to powwows, and I was around the drum, and I wasn't scared of the loud bang, and I wasn't a mama's boy either. If you put your hands out, I would put my hands out too, and give people hugs and hang out with strangers and everything as a kid. So yeah, I definitely felt loved. Yeah.
Excellent. That's wonderful. Sharon states, your presentation was beautiful. Your story so inspiring. I appreciate your courage, humor, and honesty. And I will say, to add to that, at the beginning, you told us this is not something you normally do to present to people. I think you did a wonderful job, and I think our audience is stating that in their questions.
Thank
Chris,
you guys.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. How do you promote your business?
I don't. I don't need to. um, it's super cocky to say, but I'm good at what I do, and people tell other people. And we haven't need. I think we ran an ad one time, and I got 0 calls from it. So we just don't do it. We have enough people that just word of mouth. Just the financial industry is small enough and large enough to people know people. So if they go to your website and it looks sweet, they're like, who who did that? So yeah, we kind of just got where we are just based on our work. So
Excellent. We've got lots of things coming in. I want to make sure I don't miss any. Cindy says the journey of the ongoing business or building yourself and a career is so beautiful. This is a wonderful demonstration of doing it for the right reason and a great direction. Salute to you.
well, thank you.
Go ahead.
That's like another comment I don't think I touched on. I contribute our success to just being honest and being ourselves. I feel like there's a lot of people who BS their way, and I've just never done that. I'm not that kind of person. Honesty goes a long way, and I've just been honest my whole life. So at a young age, I felt like it was always the right direction. So
Thanks. You are an inspiration. Thank you for your honesty and wisdom. Rochelle commented, yes, you did a great job today. Noemi, thank you for sharing your beautiful story. And I would like to say that I'm aware from some of the comments previous to your presentation that some of our art students and faculty were interested in what you were going to present today. And I wondered if you have a general message that you mentioned you didn't want to be a starving artist, right?
yeah.
You've already shared so much, but any other general comments you'd like to share with those who are either in the middle of art careers or those who are trying to develop a career related to art?
Yeah. So one, I feel like we all have a different path. For me, art was that passion that brought me through schooling and kind of like sealed this path as far as I want to do studio art. But when I look back at it, I wasn't very good. I in my classes there were people that were better better than me. And I'm like, and I just obviously looked at art and I'm like, I don't think I can do that. And it for me was it became more of like a hobby. And when I found graphic design, it was more of a career. As far as I met my teacher Tim and learned more about what a graphic designer does, and obviously went on monster.com and saw graphic designer jobs. I didn't see an artist job. I didn't see a painter job. So I kind of was scared to do that, and that kind of goes against my take like a risk approach. But I feel like it just happened that way, and I'm glad it did. And as far as an artist goes, I still do art, and like behind me, if you can see, I have a chalkboard wall. I was talking to a client a client in Omaha, and they were like, hey, what's that chalk wall? Do you, can you explain more? And I was like, yeah, I just did it for fun. And they're like, well, we have a 20-foot by 16-foot chalk wall in our office. Do you want to come chalk it up? And I'm like, well, I've never done that before. I've never done something that big. Okay. So I did it, and I've designed, I don't have it now, but I've designed books, and art is man, I would say graphic design is a form of art. It's just, on the computer. So
Exactly. Thank
yeah.
you. So here's a question that you might not expect, but will you ever grow your hair back?
I think so. Yeah. Um, I just had long hair for my like entire life. And I always envied people that could dye it and change like the way it looked. And I was just sitting there. I mean, I loved it, but I was just always the same. And I just wanted something different. And that toying with cutting it was always on the back of my mind. And I finally did it. My mom hated it. She cried when I cut it.
Did in your family, can you tell the audience what if there was a significance to long hair?
Yeah. So I mean, most natives know long hair is a symbol of strength. So that meant a lot to me for a really long time. And I actually kept my hair. But whenever a loved one passes, you cut your hair and you put it in with their like remains. It helps them on their journey. So whenever my mom passed, I already had my hair, so I gave it to her. And then my brother also had long hair, and he actually cut his hair whenever my mom passed. So yeah.
Thank you. I was touched too by your saying that when you were a young child, you were teased because of your hair. I mean, we have a good audience here of nearly 50 people, and I'm guessing that somebody in their profession might interact with young boys whose hair is longer. I mean, how would you have liked that situation to be dealt with? Did you have any support from others when you were being teased?
Yeah. Well, one, I would tell my mom, and then she would call the school or call the teacher. So she definitely took care of it. As far as getting it, like it didn't get unnoticed or anything. But it was just something that happened. Kids are dumb. They're like we're young and dumb. So um, I was just different, and it was just an easy joke. Or bullying to me is a little bit normal. I don't think it should be, but yeah. So yeah, I mean, all we did was just tell the teachers. It wasn't extremely bad, but it happened. So
Thank you. Can you tell us, Stephen, how do you get your ideas for art projects? Where does design come from?
yeah, I would love to give credit to my brain, but I can't. I actually look at other artists, people that are better than myself, or that I view as better than myself. Um, I'm always looking at what's like the latest style and what works and what doesn't. And the internet is an amazing place to find people pretty much like all over the world. So yeah, get my ideas from others.
So there's a comment out there from somebody who knows you well. He's being humble. He has an amazing design brain.
Yes.
But we love your humbleness too. What other kind of things do artists, especially with their own businesses, do to keep up their professional development, or would you suggest?
Yeah. So, well, like whenever I worked at Blue Giant, they actually sent me to San Diego for like a design conference. So, and I've been to a couple in Omaha. Like obviously with quarantine like happening, I think everything has switched to online. Adobe Max was online and free this year. So I think just taking advantage of what's right in front of you. So yeah.
Thank you. Yeah. We certainly have a lot more ways to train ourselves these days
Yeah,
things that we didn't anticipate COVID would bring to us.
right.
So I want to ask the audience, do you have any more questions that you want to send to Stephen? Please send them through the chat. I am going to say that I know that there are a lot of people that remember your family members, and we're certain that whether they're here with us today or they've passed on, they are very proud of your work, Stephen. And thank you so much for bringing it to Metropolitan Community College. And this audience, great diverse audience of people, we just really are indebted to you for sharing your story.
Yeah, well, thank you, Terry Gallagher and my Aunt Tammy for suggesting me for this. My immediate answer was no. I don't want to do that. And then I thought to myself, well, when you say no, you should probably do it. You know, it's like.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yep.
We're so thankful that you did. So I want to, unless another question jumps in there, I want to say thank you again. We really appreciate everybody for being with us and staying through almost the entire session. And I would like to thank Stephen again. We have learned a lot from you today. And I know that when things seem difficult, I'm sure that most of us are going to think back to something you said, move forward, or helps us to be more creative in our lives, professionally or personally. Jason, would you please put up the slide for the evaluation? As you can see there, that's our online evaluation, mccneb.edu/IIEEVAL. It's also in the chat. We'd love for you to go out there and complete that. If you'd like to be considered for recognition, you need to please share your name and contact. You do not have to share it if that's not something you're interested in. And then our next program in Native American Heritage Month is actually this evening. For anybody who can join us, Mr. Tim Tingle, well known in the storytelling world, who is Choctaw, will be sharing with us beginning at 6:30 p.m. The Zoom address is up there. If you have any questions about that, you can look at our website, mccneb.edu/native, and there'll be a little bit more on there about his background. So thank you, everyone. It's been a beautiful afternoon, and we appreciate everybody being with us.
Yeah.
Thanks, Stephen.
Yep. Thank you, guys.